Kelly.
I'm Rich.
And we are Wonderburst Adventures.
Today I'm going to be turning this phenolic plywood into these drawers.
We hope you enjoy the video, and as always, please leave us a comment below.
Alright, so today is a miserable winter's day here in the UK. So what I've done is dug out the bits and pieces that I had cut weeks ago for a drawer unit that's going to go underneath our double bed at the back of the bus. And eventually it's also going to house a pull-out separating toilet. But today we're going to focus on getting the structure in place for the drawers. I had it cut up by a timber merchant and it was delivered. So I've already used a bunch of the phenolic plywood that was delivered to make an electrical box. And I've decided to modify it ever so slightly. These modifications meant that I needed to cut several of the pieces of wood just down in size, so I could basically make the unit freestanding. Otherwise it was going to be reliant on being attached to other pieces of furniture in the bus. Okay, so this is the end piece of my drawer. I've got two of these to go in here to make my drawer units for the sides. So what I'm going to use is my Biscuit cutter. Yeah, I used this to good effect before. To basically join these together along with some screws in the side. What I've done is I've marked up at even points on each end where I'm going to make my cuts with the Biscuit cutter. So first of all, I'm just going to set up the fence. Thusly, this the thinnest depth of wood that you get away with using a number 0 cutter with, so at 12mm. I'm no expert in using this tool, but I have got more confident with it. I just made my cuts on the side with the Biscuit jointer and then flicked basically the orientation downwards and made the corresponding ones on the other side. The biscuits that I'm using this are the smallest ones you can get, so number 0 biscuit. Obviously I'm going to glue this up in a minute, but let me just show you how they work. Basically the biscuits will go into these gaps. You will bring this panel around and sandwich it together, and I'm going to secure it through the side as well, so it'll be glued and screwed. And then what these things do, so they don't look like much, they look like an ice cream cone type texture. They expand and they basically make a permanent bond between the two pieces of wood. And then I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 screws through into the side as well. So I'll clamp this up, drill through and screw through it. Before I do that, I'm going to repeat this step for the end piece here. Marked up, and then I did the end piece of the upright first. And what I can do now I've got my cross hatches here, I can turn my fence around the other way. I basically make my flush Biscuit cuts into the face of that. The Biscuit joints for the two end pieces are now done. However, I've got cross braces going in. So the way that I've designed these, I'm having a large cross brace going across the bottom of the drawers and then a smaller one on the face at the top. And then I've got another like cross piece going along the very top of the box just to keep it sturdy, straight and true. So I am just drawing on centre points for these cross beams because I'm going to Biscuit joint those. And then once it's all Biscuit jointed, can I say Biscuit joint anymore? It will be time to screw it all up. But this is like the bit that takes a little bit of time, a little bit of thinking, because I want it to be strong. I've made a set of drawers before, so goodness knows if this is the right way to do it. One of the modifications I've made, so I'm making a central shelf to separate the two drawers that's going in here. Again, I don't know if it's necessary, but it'll make it nice and sturdy. So I've just cut that down to the 55 so it matches the depth. I am deciding to just drill through these and I'm going to screw these in place, this middle shelf only. So I'm just going to clamp them all together because I've got three, you've got the back and the two matching sides. And if I drill them all through together, the height will be the same for all of those drill holes. I only need to drill 3 holes. So I then glued up the biscuits and began screwing through all of the pieces of panels, making sure I was pilot holing first, because if you don't pilot hole, I found out to my detriment on my last project, you will split the wood. So I drilled through first in all of the places, and then basically with wood screws secured it through, so it is screwed and glued through all of the joints, making it nice and strong. Sunday morning, so the drawer carcass is built now, so we're gonna have 2 drawers of equal height, quite big ones obviously. We could have had 3 smaller ones, but we've gone for 2 big ones in here. And then next to it, I'm gonna construct the carcass now for a pull-out toilet, which actually, in its construction, has the same internal dimensions of this, of 55 wide. And the reason for that is the hope, if this works, it's a big experiment, if it works, we will have space basically for the toilet to slide out into the bathroom. Just pop some tape underneath so I can mark this. So these panels are 5 centimeters longer than that of the drawer. And the reason being, so they can pass through the wall of the bathroom. So if I make it right, this will be flush with basically the opening wall of the bathroom is the idea. It's going to be a lot of variables in this. It's going to be difficult to get done. So I've marked that on there now. I can lay this on top of the other board, which is the same size, 61 by 55. And then I can drill through where I want my bracing points to go through. And that's just going to give me a uniform area to work from. I then decided to mark up all of the sides of the boards in one hit. Right, if this works, genius. If not, we'll work something else out. So, box here, I've got the 2 sides and I've got the top. So what I've done is I've clamped them all together and I've marked on equal parts where I'm going to do my biscuit cut. So I'm going to cut through the sides on this one first. 1, 2, 3, with the gate down. I need to change that. Making sure that it is there. Making sure that it's still set at the correct depth. Yes, and making sure here that the biscuit is set to 0, because it had flicked actually round to a larger one, which didn't cause me a problem, but very much could have, because it could have plunged it too far into the board. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. Then what I'm going to do is flip the top board around, redraw the lines 1, 2, 3, and then what I'll be able to do is remove the gate up and then plunge in 1, 2, 3 on each of the boards, and then they should marry up. They should. Right, while I'm here, I'm just going to clamp these 2 together and drill through where I want my screws to go through. Again, doesn't really matter that they're not equal, but there's an easy way to save some time, and they'll be even either side. So I guess if you could see it, which you won't ever be able to, it'll at least look nice and uniform. Found a bit of an amateur tip here. Calpol syringe makes for a very good applicator of wood glue. So you put the wood glue in the hole, and you pop the biscuit in with the wood glue, like so. You do the same on the corresponding hole that's going to be inserted in there. When I screw it up, a load of glue will squirt out, but I'll have to clean up, but the PVA will cause the biscuit to expand and bond the 2 pieces of wood together. I'm just bumbling along with this. Obviously, I am not a woodworker, but I do want it to be sturdy, and I do want it to last, and I do want it to be straight. So let's have a look. Let's See what that looks like. Tell you what, it's not bad, is it? As before, these were pilot holed through and then secured with wood screws. Now, once this box is complete, the reason I wanted to put a lid on this one and I didn't put a lid on the drawers themselves is I want to seal this unit because it is a toilet. So the toilet itself will have its own lid. That will be sealed, so we've got a sealing toilet lid. However, we want to seal this box too, and I've made sure I put the smooth side of the phenolic ply on the inside for obvious reasons. At this stage, I fitted up the opposite side in exactly the same way. In our build, we need to ensure that there's a gap between our two units because actually this is going to provide enough space for the bathroom wall to separate them. No. Does anyone else make such a meal out of making a carcass out of plywood? Let me know in the comments. To mount it on the backboard, I am going to put some biscuit joints in here and along the top. What I've done is I've taken 3 points and marked it around the side. I'm going to lay it back on its back now and then mark it correspondingly on here. And then hopefully when we push it together, it's nice and straight. Hopefully. Don't mind the dust, I'll clean it all up. What I've done is here, 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 and here, and then repeated all the way across. Put in my screw holes, so I've got 4 on each piece of wood. I'm gonna try and line this all up now on the back, and hopefully screw it together. Alright, okay, glue in the holes. Montage. Glutage. Go. Thankfully this stuff's not too heavy. But it did need a little bit of persuasion. Oh my gosh, is that the one? Never does it fit. Never. Genuinely yesterday, the piece that I cut off off the back of the unit is about the right size. So I'm not going to fight it. I'm not a fighter. I'm going to use it. And all I'm going to do, I'm going to clamp that up. I'm going to drill some pilot holes through from either side. And just put a few screws through, and then that should be sturdy. This is the stage we're up to. So we've got a hole for the toilet. We're not doing that today. We've got 2 holes here. And those holes are for 2 drawers. Never constructed a drawer before, ever. But the way that I'm going to put them together today is basically similar to how I've put the cabinets together. So I'm going to join them with biscuits and screws and I'm going to need to also take out a slot with my router for the baseboard of the drawer. I'm going to use 9mm ply for that because I've got it here in my garage ready to use. But there's a couple of things in here that I've never done before. I've never used the router to take out a slot before. The other thing I didn't do, when I was designing the drawers, I thought, oh, I'll just have the two sides and the back cut out of this phenolic ply, and then I will screw that into, you know, the finishing face of the cabinet, which is going to be in birch plywood. I've decided to change my mind on that. Therefore, the first thing I did was to cut 2 new drawer backs out of that birch ply. And then I had to fathom up a way for how I was going to put that dado slot in each of the drawer sides. A little bit steamed up. It is cold today. The next thing I'm going to attempt to do is to put slots in all of the drawers to hold the bottom of the drawer in. And the way I'm going to do that is probably not the right way, but it's the only way that I can think I can do it with the tools that I've got. What do we have here then? So what I've done is made a very simple jig. So I've screwed a piece along here that's the same thickness as these. Then along here I've screwed another piece to basically make a sled for this to slide through. And this width here is the same on all of my pieces. Then what will happen if this works, I'm talking it like it's going to work, is I'm going to use this attachment on my router and keeping the pressure on, move it along. What I'm going to try and do is then use the sled for the router and push it along the piece to basically have an end-to-end slot. And if this works, we'll basically end up with the slot in the same place on all 8 of the boards. If it doesn't work, then this won't be completed this week because I haven't got another way of figuring out how it's going to work. Right, dust mask on. Well, it's a mask. Let's give it a go. What I ended up doing was bolting this to the jig itself, and I've put a few self-tappers through here, and this is solid. And then I did record it, but it didn't record because of course it didn't. I had a piece along here and then I basically pushed it through like it was on a sled, and now I've got all of my slots in the same place. But yeah, you didn't actually see me do it, but I did do it. Just push through one through after the other. The jig took longer to set up than it did to actually do the piece of work, which was literally a matter of minutes. So I've got those all slotted out now. The next thing I'm going to do is just going to mock up each of the sides. I used tape to mark the sides where I was going to use the biscuit jointer on because I am forgetful. Now that the sides are cut, the slots are done, the biscuits are done, I need to cut the bottom of the drawers. So obviously I need 2 of these, which were marked up and then cut with my plunge saw, so they were equal sizes. 2 bases. Let's see if they will dry fit together. Just having to trim up the bottom board. So I didn't take into account, obviously, that 12mm needs to come off of it. So I'm just going to take 12mm off the bottom, each of the bottom boards with the plunge saw. So that's in there now. First one constructed. Let's walk you through the second one. Steps I took. Right, the first thing I did. Bear in mind, remember, I'm not an expert, so I'm just telling you what I did. So, I first of all glued the back and the sides together. And with these on the bottom, pilot hold through, about a third of the way up, and then with a multi-purpose wood screw, screwed them together. So I've got 2 in each end. So with the sides on, I then slid the bottom in. I line the front and pilot hole screws in down the side just like at the back. It is tight, it's all tight, which is good. And that is that, basically. Just match from earlier, just wrap the glue up the corners. And that's my drawer frame complete. I've made these out of 9mm ply. I've never made a drawer before. I've never stood in a drawer before. I weigh about 65 kilos. Should I do this or not? Yeah, why not? Are you not entertained? I am. So this is how it's going to look, and we are entertained. Kelly sat on one of the drawers here.
Put my full weight on it, look how strong it is.
So we are going to be fitting some push-in drawer runners next. We're going to be framing this with some nice birch ply and thinking about our toilet box.
So hope you've enjoyed this week's video and you've had a lovely week, and we will see you soon. 1, 2, 3.
Bye!